Hey everybody, it's Peggy. I'm back again with another video, and today we are talking about how to not be your own worst enemy when it comes to selling online. Now this is, I mean, I'm an Etsy person, that's fine. This probably applies to pretty much every platform out there, so take from it what you will. But basically, I wrote some notes. And I started it with, if you look at every buyer with suspicion and think that every communication from them is some kind of a scam or a drama about to unfold, then you're going to have a very, 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 very bad time. And that's what we're talking about today, is how to avoid becoming your own worst enemy and having that very, very, very bad time. And I see this all the time. Oh, the customer wants a refund. They're trying to scam me. And yeah, are you going to, okay, I'll just get back to my list here. Are you going to be asked for refunds that you don't feel are deserved? Yes. Are you going to deal with hostile buyers who make your blood boil? Yes. Will you have to deal with buyers who didn't read the descriptions or your policies or just basically didn't understand what they were buying? Yes. Will you lose money on some transactions as a result of this? Yes. Absolutely. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, is it gonna happen a lot? That's something that you can have some control over. Is it going to go really, 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 really badly every time you encounter these situations? That's something that you can have some control over. And one of the things that we're going to be working towards as this goes on is working towards ways to get extra control over these things. So, number one, instead of freaking out when it happens, and again, the last question was, will you lose money on some transactions because of this? Because of so instead of freaking out when it happens, plan for it. The number one thing, make sure you're pricing your products realistically. If you're pricing your products down to the penny so that every refund is going to hurt, especially if I have a product that I'm selling for $10, but it takes $10 worth of materials, and then I spend $10 in shipping, right? This is weird math, but you got to bear with me. So if I have to give a refund, I am breaking even on the product because it's $10 product that I sold for $10. Okay, but I'm out $10 because I paid for shipping. So why am I doing that? That doesn't make a lot of sense. So yeah, make sure your products are priced realistically. Make sure your products are priced. And one trick, I don't want to say trick, but one thing that I do is that one thing that I did early on was I planned a few cents from every sale is mentally speaking, in a little kitty, so that I charge a few extra cents per item, so that if something happens and I have to give a refund, that it's not hurting the same way. It's not causing the same problems. And I did plan a profit for myself into what I'm doing. I'm not down to pennies per item as my profit margin. That's not realistic anyway. I mean, nobody's a nonprofit. You don't go to work in order to break even. You go to work in order to make money, pay for the kids' stuff, put a little bit of money in savings, pay your bills, do your thing, have a little bit of money left over for some fun. Your day job is not a nonprofit activity for you on a personal level. Your side gig, your business, especially if your goal is to go to this full time, I've covered that. I think I've already covered that. So plan for it. Okay, so make sure you're pricing your products realistically. Don't race to the bottom on prices to the point where every refund has the power to hurt your business. And again, that's why I just pointed out. If you're only making 2 or 3 cents profit per item, then that refund, once you factor in the cost of shipping, is going to hurt. Don't do that. Because now you're starting out, I was going to say starting out on your back foot, and I'm not sure if that's a pretty old thing. I don't know if anybody knows what that means anymore. Yeah, if your profit margins are too low, that's going to kill your business faster than anything else that you could be encountering anyway. That's a whole separate one. I've done a couple of videos now talking about pricing your business, but this is yet another reason, because then if there is a problem, every single problem is going to hurt your bottom line. It's going to hurt you financially, and it could put you in a money-losing situation. Like I said, you got a $10 profit. You got a $10 product that you're selling for $9.50. $10 worth of materials. You sell your product for $11, but it's $10 for the shipping. But you've had to give a full refund, including the cost of shipping. You're now down the cost of shipping. I mean, No matter how you work the math, if your math is that tight, you will lose money easily. Easily and often whenever there's a problem, right? Okay. So the next one, this is the one that you guys are going to hate. Be willing to be wrong even when you think you're right. That's a hard one. Review your photos, review your descriptions. If you have a negative interaction, it doesn't matter what you think about it, review your stuff. There was a guy recently, very recently, come in and he's complaining he had to give a refund for not as described. If a customer's asking for a refund, they have to click a button that says why. Customer clicked not as described. He was told he had to give the refund. Why? Because his product photos did not match the product. And he says, well, but the product looks nicer than the photos anyway. It's like, but your product is supposed to be purple, according to your photos. The product the customer received was blue. You don't, and you know, color themes and stuff like that, they're subjective, right? You don't get to decide that blue is nicer than purple if the customer was expecting purple. Be willing to be wrong on that. So what was, you know, are people going to ask for refunds that you don't feel are deserved? Absolutely, but sometimes you just have to say yes to preserve your business. Sometimes it's just better customer service to say yes. What if this person is connected to a group of 12 other people who are regular customers of yours, and by denying them their refund, you're going to turn away 10 other customers? It can happen. It can happen. So be willing to be wrong even when you fully believe that you're right. I can believe I'm right and still be wrong because some things are more subjective, right? This guy's photos did not match his product, but because he felt that the product was nicer looking, well, the product looks way nicer than the photos do anyway. It's like, that's too bad. That's what the customer was expecting. And it didn't match to the point where they were actually showing, his lighting made the product look purple. Product was actually blue. And he admitted it. I was like, well, yeah, I know they're blue, but you know, these are really good photos though. It's like he didn't want to give up on his good photos even though it showed the product improperly. Don't do that. So if a customer complains and you don't, I don't see the difference. It's like, doesn't matter. If customers can see the difference. There was another one where somebody put in for a refund because this person was selling individual, I think it was bath bombs. Let's say bath bombs so I can have an example. This person was selling individual bath bombs, got a review because they thought they were getting a package of 6. Because every single photo showed 6. And nobody could explain it to this person. Well, actually, we finally did explain it to this person, but it had to go around in circles because they were not willing to be wrong. It's like every single photo shows 6. Well, the customer should know that you don't get 6 for that price. And it's like, no, the customer has no fucking reason to know that. And there are people that sell bath bombs in sets of 6 for as cheap as you are selling a single bath bomb. Because, you know, on Etsy, prices are all over the place, right? So we finally got her to understand you need to show individual photos. You need to break this down into individual photos and make it very, very clear by just a glance at basically on Etsy, your first photo should be the photo that shows the customer exactly what they're getting. And people love to use that first photo to be super artistic and all this stuff and all this thing. There's people that I've seen photos on there that you look at the photo and you don't even know what the product is because there's so much trash and clutter in the photo that you don't know what the actual product is. One person was selling, like little mini portraits or something, but they had 2 different sizes. But they changed the listing so that they now only offered one size. So people were thinking that they got 2 photos, 2 things. She couldn't get that person to understand it either. It's like, well, no, this is a good picture, blah, 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 blah. No, but it shouldn't be your first picture. Okay. Be willing to be wrong and be willing to take community feedback on ways to fix it, especially if the community is, generally speaking, siding against you. Like I said, this guy with the product photos, I think it was earrings or something anyway, with the 2 different colors, the community was against him saying, these do not match. These do not look enough. They do not look close enough to be considered the same product. And he didn't want to believe it. He did not want to believe it because, oh no, these are better photos. It's like, doesn't matter. The photo and they didn't. Be willing to be wrong, even if you don't really think you're wrong, because when I put something up, I think I'm right. Of course, if I didn't think I was right, I wouldn't be confident enough to put it up there. But if somebody comes back and says, oh, this is a problem, it's like, oh, I better go fix it. And don't forget, whether or not you think you're doing right, if it's not landing well with your buyers, they're not going to buy it. You could hurt your own business by refusing to take feedback as intended. So review your photos. Review your photos and descriptions after every negative interaction. Was there something you could have done a little differently to avoid the problem? That's always your priority. Always your priority. And that is something that you can control. Can you integrate it into your business to avoid the problem in the future? Usually the biggest problem that we see is people don't read the descriptions. It's like, no, they don't. Plan for that. Plan for it. People don't read the descriptions. This person with the bath bombs, people didn't read the description and realize that they were only getting one. I forget how she had it all set up. They didn't realize, they thought they were getting a set of 6. They thought they would choose what one they want and that they would get 6 of it. And her description was bad. I don't want to call it good. I don't want to call it bad. I've put up bad descriptions and had to go fix them. It's not, this goes back to leaving your ego at the door too. Like, if it's not landing with your customers, and it doesn't matter how good you think it is. They're the ones I want your, when I'm putting a product for sale, I want your money. If it's not landing well, you're not going to give me your money. So this really does actually tie back into leave your ego at the door, because that really is what gets in the way most of the time. Okay. So scammers are out there. They are. They're a fact of life. I just got a scam call today. Hi, this is Canada Post. You didn't pick up your package, and we need you to text us back and do this and do that and do this and do that. And it's like, Canada Post doesn't operate that way, so no, I'm not texting you shit. So that's a thing. But scams are a fact of life. We have spam email. We call our emails spam, but what they are is scamming attempts. We know what it is, and we know it exists. Just learn from it when you spot it. So learn to spot the obvious. One obvious scam. Hi, I have 30 products that I want to buy from you because I like your shop. Can you please click this link and then click on whatever it is that you think you can accommodate for me? It's like, no. Hi, I have a way to help you increase your Etsy sales. Just click on this link and fill out a short survey. No. Hi, I want to place a bulk order, but first I need a free sample. There's a way around that one. It's like, sure, not a problem. Pay for your fucking sample, and then I'll take the cost of it off of your bulk order. But anyway, something to keep in mind. I wrote this one down. Something to keep in mind, because I hear this all the time. 2 things I hear all the time. Oh my God, Etsy's full of scammers. I'm just going to start a Shopify store. Well, Shopify gets scammers too. Scammers are everywhere. You're not going to avoid scammers by leaving Etsy and going to somewhere else. You're just going to attract it. You're just going to get a different crop of scammers coming from someplace else. So that's just going to happen. Wait a second. What did I just read? And the other one is, I'm just going to open a storefront business. I'd be better off opening a storefront business. Well, here's a fact of life. Here's a little tidbit that people don't know is that it costs a fuck ton of money to open a storefront business. I know I had one. Or rather, my wife did. We know storefront businesses are expensive. And guess what? If you're selling a physical product from a storefront business, you can expect to lose 25 to 50% of your inventory through shoplifting. Now, there's a fun fact that everybody is this. So wait a second, you're going to put all that time, energy, and effort into opening a storefront business that costs a hell of a lot more to run than Etsy or a Shopify store, to save yourself on that one scammer that you didn't spot, and instead you're going to lose 25% of your business, 25 to 50% of your business to shoplifting. And have to pay a shit ton of money for insurance, because getting insurance on a storefront is expensive. Okay. Where are we at? I have this little piece of paper. Where are we at? So, yeah, a lot of people are like, I'm going to do this and this and this and avoid this problem. You're not avoiding the problem. You're just changing the flavor of the problem. Scamming exists, and there's not much you can do to get around it. Just learn to spot it. I'll tell you right now, in 4 years of being on Etsy, I've never successfully been scammed. I've had a couple of people, click this link. No. There you go. My scammer problem is done. I don't have a scammer. It's like, Just being aware that it exists and being aware that you just need to be aware solves the problem, solves 90% of the problem that you might have with that. And we see people this happens, should I do it? No, it's a scam. And you can do that. If something happens that isn't sitting right with you, if something happened and you go, I'm not sure, this seems weird, go into the forums, go into the social media groups and say, hey, this just happened. Is this part of a scam, or is this something is this something you think I can trust? There was a while ago, this goes around regularly. Etsy runs a program where it's like, hey, we're doing a program and we're inviting you to join it. Here's the link, yada, yada, yada. And it's actually legitimate. But if you go into the social media groups, they will tell you who's doing it at any given time. It's like, hey, I just got this message from so-and-so. Is this one of the legitimate people that are running this workshop to help me improve my business? And you'll get a yes or a no. People will know, oh, I took that workshop. Yeah, it's great. It's fine. You're safe. So if you're not sure, hit the social media. Social media is a great place to clarify things that you're not sure of. Okay. So the customer's being rude. It says that. So the customer's being rude. It says it right on my sheet. You don't get to be rude right back. Now this is about customer service 101 and getting in trouble with Etsy because you cannot be hostile to a buyer. Short rule here is this is my short rule. If they won't say it in a big box store, then don't say it. If they won't say it, neither should you. And when was the last time you walked into Walmart? And a customer goes, and a sales associate goes, the fuck do you want? Or, hey, you need to put that back. I think you're trying to steal it. Oh, I think you're a scammer. That shit doesn't happen. That does not happen. It's like, if that doesn't happen there, then swearing, being rude, accusing. Etsy won't keep you around for long if you're hostile, because sooner or later, if you're hostile to your customers, it's in writing and it's in the Etsy messages. The proof is there. Sooner or later, you're going to piss off somebody and they're going to report it. And I see this happening. Etsy shut me down and I don't know why. It's like, weren't you the one that was in here about 3 or 4 weeks ago explaining how you literally put in writing, telling your customer, you're a scammer, you're stealing from me and you need to fuck off? And you literally wrote that in writing in an Etsy message. Well, yeah, because I was defending myself. It's like, well, Etsy takes a very dim view for telling buyers to fuck off. To accuse them of being Etsy spends millions of dollars every year, like hundreds of millions, to attract customers. You being rude to the customer, regardless whether or not you feel like you have a reason, great way to find yourself out the door. Great way to lose your business. Anyway, now, don't think it's a threat. Oh, Etsy just hates us. Etsy don't get us. It's like, it doesn't make sense. If you walk into McDonald's and order a burger and they say, I think you're gonna pull a scam and pretend, I think you're gonna fuck with us and try and make us give you a refund. I'm not giving you this burger today. The first thing you're gonna do is complain to the manager. This guy's a piece of shit who's calling me names, calling me a scammer and refusing me service. What's gonna happen, right? So it is logical and makes sense that you do not get to swear, to be rude, to accuse. You don't get to do any of that, even if they're doing it to you first, which is really, really shitty that they get away with it. But here's the thing. If a customer is treating you that way, you can report them. abuse@etsy.com. You can report them. This is the interaction. How do you report one of these types of people? Here's the interactions. Include screenshots, because different departments have different levels of access to look at the Etsy messaging directly. If you don't provide a screenshot, they won't review it. Won't necessarily review it. Won't necessarily be able to review it. And because you don't know who's who and what they have access to, screenshot directly from the Etsy messages. Here's a screenshot from the Etsy message that I received. Here's the screenshot that I received in Etsy messages from this person using their screen name on this date, so that they can go confirm it themselves. But yeah, do that. Okay, anyway. So, if somebody sends you, oh, I think you're a piece of shit. I mean, buyers contact sellers all the time. I think you're a fake shop and you're just here to rip me off. Blah 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 blah. It's like if an unhappy customer is having a go at you and being like that, get a second opinion. Hey, I need to respond to this, and I would like to do it without escalating and getting myself in trouble. Can somebody help me with some, and again, that's forums and social media. Okay. Go in, ask, do not, I've seen this happen. The customer called me a cheater and said I was doing this and scamming them and stealing from them, and they were calling me names. And so I told them they could have a refund, but then they said this, and now I think that they're just causing problems and I don't want to give them their money back. It's like, you already told them that you would. Doesn't matter now. The minute you agree, the minute you tell a customer, I will give you a full refund, you have to give them the full refund. You don't get to change your mind on that shit. So if you have a customer that's having a go at you and you're not sure what to do, don't tell them, I told them what they want to hear to shut them up so that I can then go and figure out what I want to do. No, reverse order. You have 24 hours. Okay, you have 3 days, 3 business days to respond to a customer before Etsy has a problem with you. And sometimes you just don't respond to a customer. Sometimes shit happens, right? If you are regularly ignoring customers, then sooner or later Etsy's going to catch wind of it. But when you have a communication from your customer, Etsy expects you to respond within 3 business days. 3. Now the Star Seller badge is Star Seller, stellar customer service. That's 24. If you want to maintain your badge, you have 24 hours. But if you want to just maintain basic service standards, then you have 3 days before Etsy's even going to have a problem with you. I think Etsy sends you a reminder, hey, this customer hasn't received a reply yet, just so you're aware, or something like that. It's not a threatening adversarial process, unless you just make it a habit of ignoring all customer communications. Then it can get ugly real quick, but I don't know how that works, right? So yeah, get a second opinion before you respond to the customer. The minute you make the customer any sort of a promise, then that's it. You're done. Anything, you can't come back later and go, I've decided that you're a scammer and I'm not going to give you that refund. Isn't going to go very far. It's not going to work. Okay, so now don't forget that I'm telling you guys to use. Okay, and this is a social media, right? Groups like this are used like a sounding board. I mean, if you have a problem or a question and you ask it below and I can answer you, or if somebody who happens to know the answer gets to it first, like I do expect that in time this channel is probably going to grow, right? So people don't come to the forums to report that everything's peachy. They come to the forums because they're like, hey, I'm having an issue with this. Can anybody help me? So 7.5 million sellers, yeah, you're going to see it. You're going to see a huge fucking range of it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Just don't make the mistake of thinking that that's all there is out there. Most buyers are absolutely wonderful. No problems whatsoever. You sell your product, you get on with your day, and life is pretty fucking good. Like I said, 4 years, and I've never had to deal with an irate customer accusing me of anything. I've never had to deal with people being hostile to me. I've never dealt with a scam. I mean, like I said, I have in previous customer service roles. That's why I know. But here's the thing. I've had to deal with this extensively in previous customer service roles. I worked for a credit card company. I worked for a hotel booking agency. I worked for 2 different private companies running their own websites. And I've worked at various customer service places, high-end, not super high-end. Well, I guess Sears, it's higher-ish. They don't exist anymore. Burger King. Worked at a Burger King for a while back in the day. So yeah, take the lessons that you learn from those environments, or that you learn, or that friends who have been in those environments can teach you. Take that forward into these environments, and you'll find out that, yeah, like most customers are absolutely fine. Most customers are not a problem. It's that 5%, there's a saying, 5% of the people cause 95% of the problems, and that's exactly what this is all about. And on Etsy, it's even smaller than that, I think. I've 0% of my customers have had this kind of an issue with. I haven't had to deal with it. So, because I learned all the lessons before from all these other environments and brought them forward and went, well, wait a second, yeah, this is going to happen. I worked part-time at a Walmart for a while. One of the managers told me that the one section, and I'm not going to tell you which one it was, which section it was. It's like, you see all this stuff here in this section? I'm like, yeah. He says, we have never sold a single one of those. Not once, but we have to replace, but every year we go through 4 or 5 of each because of theft. Because they get stolen. We've never sold a single one of these. They had like 6 different brands of this thing going on, right? We've never sold a single one of these things from this section. They've all been stolen, every single one of them. So yeah, you learn the lessons, right? It's like, physical products in a retail environment can be huge targets for theft, especially if you're selling a rather small and easy to maneuver product. Anyway, plan for it and plan your strategy. Plan your strategy. If somebody's going to come at you screaming and yelling before you've even made the sale, I mentioned this in a previous video, probably the one I just put up last week. Somebody comes at you screaming and yelling before you've even put the package in the mail. Yeah, I think I'll just go ahead and cancel this. Not a problem. That's a drama that you don't need. That's a 1-star review and an open case once that person gets their package, because if they're already treating you like shit and you're putting up with it, it's like they're testing the waters. How easy is it going to be to get my refund later? Anyway. This is a pretty easy one. Plan for it. Plan for it. And don't plan for it in a panic. Because you're probably going to deal with at least one customer that's going to piss you off to no end. And I've been lucky. I haven't really found one of those yet. But, my days are numbered. It's going to happen. And how am I going to deal with it? Well, I'm going to deal with it like my awesome self, because I'm awesome. Just be awesome. Anyway, okay. Be awesome, be amazing, be you. Don't be angry. Don't be angry. Don't do tit for tat. Don't trade insults. But yeah, the biggest thing is recognize that it's going to happen. Recognize that it's going to happen. Don't price yourself into such a position that it's going. There is or was, I don't even know where that one is, a video on don't race to the bottom on prices. Go watch that one if you don't know what I mean. Don't price yourself so low, so competitively that every single refund, discount, whatever is going to be painful, because that's already going to set you up to be, like I said, on your back foot, if you've ever heard of that one, but it's going to set you up at a disadvantage, so that your options for dealing with it in a healthy way become even more limited. And depending on what you sell, I think I put 5 cents from every sale into this little imaginary piggy bank in case I have to give a refund and stuff, or in case something happens and I have to ship something out. Maybe the one day I switched packages, I switched labels by mistake. That was a smart one. I was so smart that day. So I had to make 2 new items and send them out, and it's like, having a few bucks kicking around that little piggy bank over there at the side made it a lot less painful to have to do that. It's like I fucked up, and like I said, I already priced for a profit. Do not price yourself as a charity, as a nonprofit. Don't do that. Anyway, that will change a lot for you right there, because you'll be a lot more comfortable from a price point perspective. And then the rest of it, just plan for it. Be willing to reach out. Be willing to be wrong. It's like, okay, well, I appreciate that I could have done better photos. I appreciate that I could have arranged my photos in a different way. I appreciate that my descriptions, people come in all the time. They didn't read the description. It's not my fault. It's like, no, it's not your fault, but it is now your problem. And you have unhappy customers that want refunds, and you still don't want to fix your description in a way that's going to be helpful, or change your products in a way that makes the description less necessary, which is usually what it turns out to be. If you have a good photo strategy, then your description becomes less important and less vital to customer information. But anyway, I'm going to get going. I think I've already beaten this one to death as much as I need to. And again, back to don't be rude. You do not get to give tit for tat. Don't be rude and get your information up front. Don't make a promise and then come back and say, I'm not doing that because I've changed my mind and I think you're a dick now. That's what social media is for. Use those groups. Anyway, I'm going to get going. You guys don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things. I'm trying to take over the world one subscription at a time, and I need your help. And in the meantime, I am going to get going and get back to work and do other things. I haven't even turned my sewing machine on today. I'm being lazy and I know it. Anyway, you guys have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.